8:12 on your fine Thursday morning. It's beautiful out there. Going to be a little chilly, but it's going to warm up. Dutra's got the deets on that in just a second. You know, it's no secret. It's Colorado. We love our beer, and tomorrow is apparently National Beer Day, although we don't really need a day to celebrate it. We celebrate it every day. But April 7th, just a couple days before my birthday, works out perfectly. The day FDR took the first step in getting rid of prohibition, allowing beer brewing and sales as long as the beer was below 4% alcohol by volume. Now that's changed. Next to water and tea, it is the third most popular drink in the world and the most popular alcoholic beverage in the world. Did you know that?
No,
but
I totally agree.
We've got beer expert Marty Jones here. Good to have you, Marty.
Good to see you, Kurt.
You're part of the institution of Colorado Brewing, and we always love having you here.
Thank
and
you
this
very
is
much.
interesting because this is about people who have an intolerance or to gluten or who have celiac disease. We were just talking about. Most of us know someone who deals with this.
Oh, sure. But it's important to know that you know more and more people are trying to accommodate that, and impacting the taste is what gluten does, right? I mean, gluten's some kind of binding
Well, it's a protein
agent.
that's found in wheat and barley, and it causes problems for people with celiac disease or people that are gluten intolerant.
Here's the problem. Those are very important ingredients when it
Yes.
comes to making beer.
They're essential, but thankfully over the past, maybe 10 years or so, brewers, because they know how important it is for people to be able to enjoy their beer,
Right.
so they've come up with gluten-free beers, and now a new segment of craft beer that's called gluten-reduced beers. So these beers are made with, like this beer example from Epic is made with sweet potatoes. We have some grains in the front from a company called Grouse Malting in Fort Collins. They malt millet and buckwheat and alternative grains, and you make beer out of them. That's what these beers here are made from.
Wow, that's really cool.
So these beers here, these are gluten reduced. It's a traditional beer, and then the brewers add an enzyme that breaks the gluten down and brings it down to a safe level where people can enjoy
So
it.
which one is this in the glass here?
This is a very delicious pale ale from New Planet. They've reworked the recipes to make them more beery, if you will. So
More beer, where you at?
Beery. Yeah, go ahead. I have at it. It doesn't even taste like
We have
it's
to share
different.
the same
We
glass.
do.
What if
We
I have
do.
germ issues?
You do. Go
I have a
ahead.
germaphobe.
well, that's the great thing. For the longest time, gluten-free beers did not taste very beer-like.
Yeah.
But this
I wouldn't even notice. I honestly, if you said which one is gluten-free and I drink that and something else, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
and that's a wonderful thing for people with gluten issues.
Well, and it seems like, what do we need gluten for anyway in our beer?
Well, it is a.
I mean, do we need it? We don't need it. Obviously, they figured out a way to make it without it, so we can all enjoy it without it.
Well, that's a good point. The people here at Riccoli Brewing, they're a local Denver brewery. They're sort of the front runners in gluten-reduced beers. All of their beers, and their slogan is, well, we make really good beer that just happens to be gluten-reduced. So that's sort of their argument. So.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier. I mean, when companies first started making gluten-free beers, they were pretty disgusting.
They were a long way from what we would quick call beer, yes.
He's more gentle with his description
That's right.
than we are,
But-
but yeah, it would leave that taste in your mouth with it just like,
Yes. Well, thankfully, things have dramatically changed. This is another gluten-free brewery up in Golden, and they use alternative grains, some of the millet that's from Grouse Malting, and rice and gluten-free oats. So things have come a long, long way for people with gluten issues.
Does the gluten impact the brewing process when you start to change those ingredients
gotta,
and
right?
you throw in sweet potatoes as opposed to the traditional mixes? It's got to.
It's a good question. But when you shift from malted barley to alternate ingredients, that's a very tricky thing. It's a completely reworking of the beer. But with gluten removed or gluten reduced beers, you brew with traditional ingredients, the enzyme does its work, and it's very simple.
Well, you've got companies like New Belgium making these gluten-reduced beers.
Excellent beer
And
there.
all the companies you see up here. Do you think, Marty, this shows a maturing of the craft brewing industry, really appealing to some other crowds and some mainstream issues?
I think that's a great point. Yeah, craft brewers have reached that area, that place where they're more established and they can branch out and take care of segments of the audience that maybe were being ignored for a long time.
What'd you say right before we went to air? You said it's 8:30 somewhere.
It's 8 a.m. somewhere, that's
what,
right.
What flavor is this? I took it off the front. Is this a sweet potato beer?
No, that's actually the Omission Lager. That we didn't have room for it up here on the set. So
Well,
give
there's
that a
room
taste.
for it in here.
And if I could, while I was at Riccoli, he mentioned me that he had a gluten-free, a person with gluten issues come sit at his bar, try the beer, and cry, who was so overjoyed to find that he could find beer that he could drink without help.
And here's
So
the
that's
thing.
a beautiful thing.
It's about something that people enjoy. I mean, that's the truth with these craft beers is that so many of us, we just enjoy them. You drink it because you really love drinking it and experiencing it and enjoying Colorado beer. And when you can't do that, man, it changes things.
It does,
So
yeah.
that's pretty cool. Marty, thank you so much.
Great to see you again. Thanks for having
Happy
me.
Beer Day tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Let's all
And
celebrate.
it's opening day, too.
Well, that's 2 big days in America.
Works out pretty well. All right, we'll get over to Greg now. He's watching your weather. Going to be a fine forecast for opening day.
It is. I feel like it's not a coincidence that it coincides with the Rockies home opener at Coors Field. Temperatures this morning, they are running between about